Thank you, and I also want to thank Minerva. She did an excellent job putting this event together, even despite some unforeseen circumstances and some people backing out. Now we're all here. So, I thank you for that introduction. Other people have introduced me as just being the bad guy. They call it the carpetbagger, the ambulance chaser, some other names that are probably not even as nice as that. And all for seeking to allow racial and ethnic minorities in the Antelope Valley and now in the Santa Clarita Valley to have a say in their city governments, their school boards. It's gotten quite a reaction, particularly in Santa Clarita. I'm here to really answer any questions that anyone has. The city of Palmdale, we filed that case back in April of 2012. The law is the law. They're violating the law. Their own expert says that they're violating the law. And the same thing is true in Santa Clarita. They're violating the law. Their own expert, Paul Mitchell, who the College of the Canyons and the Sulphur Springs School District had put together a report for them to determine whether they were violating this law, says they're violating the law. And what do they do in response? Nothing. They continue violating the law. Now, Palmdale took it a step further. We went to trial against the city of Palmdale, and the judge said, Palmdale, you're violating the law. Stop. What do? Absolutely nothing. They've still got their November election plan, violating the law. Darren Parker assisted us in that case, and I'm sure he has some thoughts on it as well. But this is what we're looking at, and it's drawn quite a reaction in Santa Clarita. You see Luke Money is here. He's written some articles about this in the Signal. None of the articles that called me an ambulance chaser or a carpetbagger. Those are other folks. Luke's a good guy.
So I'll leave the room.
But I'm really here to answer any questions that folks have, because I think there's been really a lot of misinformation put out there. There's been folks saying that if the city is districted, we'll all lose 80% of our voting power. Don't know how that works, because if that's the case, then in Congress we've all lost 99.8% of our voting power because we only get to elect one representative out of 435. There's been some other things, some really, some unpleasant things said, and hopefully I can clear the air a little bit here, provide a little bit of explanation about what the law provides, how we prove our case, what cities and school districts need to do to comply with the law, and any other questions that you folks might have.
My understanding, I think they did this together, but I'm not positive, is that they did the political districts did studies and determined going to district systems would not change anything as far as the voting groups of voting and what's your response to that?
Yeah, I've seen that report now. It was not released to the public. We had to get it in litigation. And that report says that in Santa Clarita, all these at-large elections are violating the law. Now, then the next question becomes, what is the remedy to prevent that further violation of the law? Districts is one possibility. And I've seen the way that Mr. Mitchell attempted to draw districts. Frankly, he did it wrong. He got part of it right, figured out that the school districts and the city of Santa Clarita are violating the California Voting Rights Act. And that's irrespective of whether you could draw districts that would create a big Latino majority. That's necessary under the Federal Voting Rights Act. It is not necessary under the California Voting Rights Act. But the way that he drew the districts made absolutely no sense. In Santa Clarita, look, I live in Malibu. My wife grew up in Canyon Country. I'm out here quite a bit. I don't know the area as well as you know. But what I do know is that there are two Latino concentrations in Santa Clarita. One is over in Newhall, and the other is in Canyon Country, right around here, centered right around here. And you know, to say that you can't combine those two areas in a district and get a Latino citizen voting age population of somewhere between 40 and 50%, it's just not true.
Well, the Newhall district, the Newhall portion, if I'm thinking where you're talking about, would be outside of the Sulphur Springs School District boundary.
Right. Okay, so we have three cases. One against the city of Santa Clarita.
Well, on Sulphur Springs, I mean, Newhall wouldn't matter. I mean, you have one, you just, though, from what you said, we have one concentration in Canyon.
With respect to Sulphur Springs School District.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a small correction, it's not around here. It's near White's Canyon in Florida.
Okay, that's not too far from here. So.
No, it's not around.
Can I add to that, Karen, real quick?
Darren, would you like the mic?
Well, you don't want us getting up and down, but
No, you can share that.
quickly, wow, I like that voice right there. That's my, Mark, you hear that voice right there, Mark? Okay, I want you to hear that voice, Mark. Okay, send it to John. Ken, I want to say, and Kevin touched upon it, the Federal Voter Rights Act, I think a lot of people get confused with that in the California Voter Rights Act, where the level that you must rise to is a lot different in California Voter Rights Act as it is to the Federal Voter Rights Act that deals directly with districts of people of color. But I can tell you from the personal experience of the city of Palmdale, I've been out there, as I said, almost 30 years. And just by filing this action, just by giving people hope for the first time in 4 terms, our mayor has 4 different candidates running against him. Traditionally, Mayor Ledford had run unopposed, and if he didn't run unopposed, there was someone that was a non-player, and so he's basically walked into office for the last 4 terms. The same for our city council. In the very last city council race, the 2 incumbents ran unopposed. That will not happen this November. And this November, there are 5 candidates that are running in that race, at least 2 are color and 2 women. See, we've also had the problem of women being elected to our councils in Lancaster and Palmdale. Traditionally, it's been all white.
We don't have that problem here.
Traditionally, it's been all white male. But my point is, and I'm glad you don't have that problem here because I have 5 daughters and 5 granddaughters, so I know about the woman thing. As a matter of fact, if you see how I dress, I did not do this. They did. But my point is that just by us starting to engage the community and give them hope for the first time in our elections, we are starting to see more candidates come out. We're starting to see a more diverse slate of candidates come out, and people are not walking into office at the status quo. So if nothing else, in raising the consciousness of this issue has caused voters to feel like they're empowered just slightly as we move forward through this process. So I don't want to get stuck on the race thing because that's really not the formula for the California Voter Rights Act, and I think that people try to minimize this whole discussion when they start to put it into race. What it is really about is empowering voters, making sure that any person that feels that they're capable to lead their city can feel confident to get out there and run a race and be able to win that race with a constituency of their own.